You've been looking at the game as a whole in Scotland. It's not just the international scene. And you've been looking at various aspects. Academies is one, the women's game is one as well. Yeah. What's kind of key for Scottish Rugby at the moment when you look at those varying aspects of the game?
What we're trying to do is look at the challenges that we've faced since the game went professional here in Scotland, and I think we've never really recovered from that moment in time. We've struggled to come to terms with professionalism, and what that has meant is that we haven't really invested in our grassroots game in the way we would have liked to have done, or the way that other people have done. So when we looked at the game from first principles with the council, with the board, we have produced 5 policy documents, and those are deeply embedded in schools. We're going to look at schools in a different way than we've ever done before. We're going to develop more schools of rugby. We're going to try and get in more and more state schools that have never been rugby focused. We're also going to try and get schools competitions that have integrated independent schools, clubs and state schools involved. The women's game is being fundamentally readdressed. We've got applications in for the new head of rugby position. We're very, very exciting applicants for that role. So that's going to be redefined fundamentally. And then we're going to launch 4 new district academies in the next calendar year. And we're very excited about that. There'll be one in Caledonia, one in the west, one in the east and one in the borders. And we're going to accelerate our plans there to develop players from the whole of Scotland into 4 district academies.
When do you see that new way of looking at Scottish Rugby, when do you see that start to bear fruit?
That's going to start coming on from the end of this summer. We're going to start investing obviously now in the head of women's rugby, that we'll start to recruit for that straight away. We're going to look at the academies probably from late summer onwards. You'll see them come online over the next calendar year. There'll be work on state schools and increased schools of rugby during the year as well. And we've still got to keep our eye on the present as well, because we've got the summer tour coming up, we've then got the autumn international 6 nations, and then the pre-World Cup games, of which this time we're playing 4 games.
You mentioned the summer tour, and obviously that's an important period, not just for the team, but also because there's a new coach in place with Vern Cotter. So what do you expect from Vern, and what does Vern expect from Scotland, given the way that things have gone in the 6 Nations?
I think Vern's been following the results from Scotland. He's a realist. He knows exactly where we are. I'm really excited about him coming on board. What I want him to do first and foremost is finish his projects at Claremont. This is something he's been working on for the best part of a decade, and it looks like it's going to come to a successful conclusion. He comes straight from his domestic campaign into the tour, almost 1 week to the other, and so Scott and he will work on a transition period throughout that tour, where Scott can hand over the reins to Vern, and then it'll be very much Vern's responsibility going forward from the first game in North America.
You know, the club game is very important at a grassroots level, and it's the way people interact with rugby generally. So how healthy is the club game, and what do you expect for the club game in the future?
Well, we're delighted with going to Broadwood in the first instance for the Cup Finals day. As you can see, the new pitch is being laid here at Murrayfield, but we've managed to go to the west to have the finals day there. We're very happy and pleased that North Lanarkshire got behind us with that, and I look forward to a great day there. In terms of the season itself, it has been another great season in Premiership, another nail-biter with some really, really interesting games right until the end of the season. And I think it goes back to what we were saying before, is that what we want to do is to raise the standard of that next level in Scottish Rugby and bring it up to closer to where the pro teams lie. And as you know, we're talking with our stakeholders and clubs in Scotland generally around the pros and cons of the Super League concept, but also around other models as well as districts. And we'll listen to all our stakeholders and we'll move forward with whatever proposals come out of those conversations.
Does the competitiveness of the club game make it more attractive in terms of sponsorship?
I think so. I think, you know, let's be fair, the jeopardy that's involved at both the top of the table and the bottom of the table always makes it more interesting and more valuable as a product for sponsors. But what I want to make sure is that not only are we producing interesting rugby at that level, which is great to watch, but it's also taking the standard of rugby in Scotland up a notch so it can compete with semi-professional clubs in England and Ireland and also in Wales, and I think that's one thing we have to keep our eye on.